Joining us to discuss the market update and, of course, what exactly is happening there as we're seeing the rally sort of losing steam is David Adonri. He's the GM with Lambeth Trust and Investment. Now, David, great to have you on the show. David, give me your take about what happened today. I mean, are investors losing steam, or are we just seeing profit taking?
Thank you very much, Uche. It's a pleasure being with you today. Just like you mentioned, the equities market got into a state of fatigue today, coming down by about 0.58%. Well, one would say that for a market that had been upbeat for a number of days, definitely speculators that had jumped into the bandwagon will start exiting gradually and taking a profit. And so it's therefore clear that speculators have started taking a profit, which they have made in the past few days.
David, I mean, certainly, I think this was a similar situation in the banking sector. Usually, it's a major driver in the market. We saw it down 1.23% today. Give me your take on what really happened there. I mean, is it because of GT Bank, which we saw being marked down as a result of the fact that it was paying off an interim dividend today?
Yes, indeed. You know, when First Bank, which is a major stock in the banking sector, loses any amount, no matter how small, it becomes significant in determining the state of the index for that sector. Although First Bank lost just 1 kobo today, that was material enough to impact negatively on the index for that sector. But the other two major companies there in the sector, Zenith Bank came down very severely. Then GT Bank was marked down for the payment of interim dividend of 25 kobo. And so the combination of these three declines actually brought down the index for the banking sector, making the sector to lose over 1%. And that had a material effect in addition to the decline of a high cap security like Dangote in pulling the market down today.
That's right, David. It's obvious that what happened on the market today can't be blamed only on Dangote Cement. And certainly Flour Mills is one stock that I'd like to pinpoint. I mean, that stock was at a 19-week high, and we're actually seeing it down today. It lost about, sorry, let me just pick that. It lost 1 naira 60 kobo today.
Yes, indeed, Flour Mills has been upbeat for a number of days. Not quite long ago, the security was trading at just above 50 naira, and that it went into a sustained period of rally, crossing 60 naira, was indicative of the fact that the speculators that were lurking at the back were actually watching it and waiting for the opportunity to take profits. You realize, if you remember, the security, Flour Mills had been involved in a number of expansionary programs, carrying out one acquisition or the other within the agricultural and food value chains. And so there were compelling need for the security to gain in value. But I think along the line, speculators saw opportunity there and they lashed in, but they are exiting now. And so generally, it impacted on the entire market, just as they were exiting from the other principal securities in the market.
Well, David, there's still some good news coming out of our market today. I mean, certainly we saw Nestle, a new high with that stock, quite a good performance. We actually saw it up 27 naira. What's behind this sudden, rise that we're seeing in that stock today?
Yeah, Nestle PLC has always been a bill tracer in the market. I recollect that Nestle was the first security in the market to cross the 100 naira mark. I recollect how jubilant we were when that happened. The entire market was brought to a standstill. And here it is again, getting to a new high of almost hitting 600 naira, which is wonderful. I think a combination of factors have propelled Nestle into this frontline role in the market. First and foremost, is fundamentals have been getting stronger by the year. And secondly, because that security is held principally by a core investor. And so what we have are what we call a float in the market, which are available for trading are very, very little. And so at points in time, the supply of the security is low. And so it could be overwhelmed by demand, especially against the backdrop of its improving fundamentals. And so that is why we have seen the security rising consistently for over a period of time, and yet speculators have not succeeded in pulling out of the security and weakening it, because the float available for trading is very, very small. And
That's
so
right.
forces of supply and demand play a very insignificant role in determining the price
stock
of that security.
Okay, well, I certainly am curious about your outlook for the week, David. Obviously, we thought last week was going to be the week where we saw a lot of profit taking. It seems like it's going to be this week. What's your take?
Yes, I think fatigue has come in this week, considering the fact that there is nothing there to actually propel the market. Other than that, we have a stable macroeconomic environment, and then because yields are still falling in the bond market, also with the news that perhaps some quantitative easing may still occur in the US and in the advanced economies. And so we can have a market that is stable, because now the Nigerian equities market is dominated by foreign investors,
right,
who react more to changes in the global macroeconomy. But the domestic macroeconomy is stable, and on the strength of that, I believe that we can still enjoy this level of dynamic equilibrium in the market, right, with the index hovering around between 24,000 and 25,000 points.
That's right. We haven't hit the 25,000 yet, certainly, but it's great to hear that your outlook is positive. Thank you so much for joining us, David Adonri, GM at Lambeth Trust Investment.